Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone. My name is KJ, and I'm the host. And this is my spoiler review for the new movie by Marvel Studios, Captain America Brave New World. Again, this is a spoiler review. If you have not seen this, pause this and go check out my non-spoiler review video. If you have not seen this movie yet, go check it out and then come back and watch the spoiler review. So, y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. The film starts off with General Ross, who becomes President of the United States of America in the MCU, of course, and it shows us many future characters that could see more, such as Betty Ross, and he asked if she's going to be there as an attendance, and she's definitely not showing up. And throughout this film, we see like Betty Ross holds a big grudge towards her father. Obviously, this is all referring to the 2008 movie, The Incredible Hulk. So it's, things haven't patched up the way it is, because in this film we see General Ross claim that he wants to change, but he still falls back to his old ways. And even though he's the president of the United States, he still feels like he's in war, and he feels like he needs to have a tactic, a plan to execute thing, and he wants to still kind of use that strategy where he bullies other countries, other government countries and presidents and whatever, and other outside the United States, and bullying them to do what his idea, his way, and just automatically trust him, that type of thing. But he tries and he tries, and the one thing he's trying to put pressure on is this project that he's having other nations work together with a quote-unquote peace treaty. As the movie reveals that they're using the dead Celsius's materials, and this is the Celsius from the Eternals movie, and it's called adamantium, and it's supposed to be stronger. Well, it is stronger than the Captain America shield material, which is vibranium, which is again got reference that it is from Wakanda, that the resource that to get all that material is from Wakanda. And I thought that was pretty good, and I thought that's awesome. So, Wakanda, seems like there's still a story to be told with Wakanda. And I know they're coming out with a animation series of it, but I don't know if it's going to be connected to the MCU. If it is, that would be cool. But nevertheless, it seems like Wakanda has another story to be told in the MCU, and they mention that. And the reason why I mention that is, with this material, they don't need it, and they can use it for different ways, for different resources, from medical to technology, and of course, his favorite that he put a lot of emphasis on is military war. So we see that. But then this film switch over and we see Captain America as Sam Wilson and Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon, is on a mission to stop the setup of a buyer who's trying to get this material of the adamantium, which is, we learn that it's the leader from the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie. As of course, throughout this film, we learn that all this is just a setup to get revenge on President Ross. He doesn't really want that material because he already actually has access to that material anyway, because him and General Ross been working together. And the reason why the leader wants to get revenge is because General Ross screwed him over, promised some type of freedom, but he's still locked up in that same spot where it's like a cell and it's off the grid. Can't really find it because General Ross put him there. And we learn that, he still has that gamma ray effect. Now, obviously, General Ross becomes the Red Hulk, and Bruce Banner is the Hulk, the Green Hulk, I guess. I guess we can call it that. But the leader, he didn't get super strong. He just got really smart, and his brain got super big, and you can see the shape of his brain on his head. And honestly, in the comic books, his brain was much larger. This one, they kind of just made it small, but he's still an intelligent guy, and he knew how to pull all the strings because throughout this film, we see Isaac Bradley get mind control by playing a song. Now, he went Winter Soldier mode and almost shot the president, General Ross, just like Bucky Barnes. And what's interesting is that the leader got that information, but they never really explained how he got that information, because we know that Hydra is the only one who knew how to do that. So it seems like Hydra is still existing and they're still plotting and planning. Even though Steve Rogers is not around, they still want that super soldier serum and maybe the Captain America shield. Now, throughout this film, this whole movie is about Sam Wilson trying to prove that Isaac Bradley is innocent and trying to get him out of prison. As we see new characters such as Sabra and Seth Voigtler, who was hired to be a hitman and deliver the package, and he's mad that he got his time wasted, and he's obviously got that. But it's really interesting. Sabra is a former Black Widow, and Captain America told Falcon, like, that's somebody you don't want to mess with. And I thought that was pretty interesting that now we have technically 3 women in the MCU now, including Sabra. Well, just 3: Sabra, Yelena, and Taskmaster, who are from the Black Widow cult. So they both been in that Red Room. They both know how to fight. They've been all 3 been tortured very badly. And so they're very dangerous, and Sam Wilson acknowledges that. So that's pretty cool. And President Ross, obviously, again, he screwed over the leader. So this is all about that. Now, also in this film, we learn that the leader's been making some pills because if you remember from Captain America, or not Captain America, I'm sorry, the Avengers Endgame, where we see War Machine talking to General Ross saying he had heart surgery, and we learn that he's dying in a way, and the leader figure out how to make these pills to help him. But what he didn't tell General Ross is he's been feeding him small doses of gamma ray, which is hence why he turned into the Red Hulk. And he wanted him to become the thing that he hates. And he did succeed that, because as of America saw him become Rage Red Hulk and destroyed half the White House in this film, we see that. And the leader's still plotting, and he was really good. Like, there was a scene where in the movie there was these 2 jet pilots. There was 2 jet pilots, and one of them got mind control, and they were trying to break him out, and that's where we see Falcon get injured from a shot and stuff. But it was really cool to see that. Not cool to see it, but we learned that Sam Wilson had a really impactful speech, especially with Bucky Barnes, that it's hard to carry this mantle. It's hard to fill up the shoes that Steve Rogers could do, and he has to try to be the best, and it's all on him. And he refuses to take the super soldier serum, and yet he wanted to fight the Red Hulk, General Ross, and take him down, which he did. And we got that final battle too, which was really awesome. And what I liked about this is throughout this film, they added his wings to the Captain America suit, and these wings were made from Wakanda. So you know how Black Panther's suit, the more hits it takes, it'll recharge, and you can use it as an explosion or of a wave of a blast. He used that same technique on the Red Hulk and didn't knock him out, but it just made him angrier. And with the Red Hulk is his body is so hot, anything can catch on fire. So just touching him is going to burn you. Now, he's not like Johnny Flames, but his skin is extremely hot because of the gamma ray heat. So it's not like, he's Johnny from the Fantastic Four. He's he's just a Red Hulk with fuming hot toxic gamma ray. So it's very dangerous to even want to punch. And so he really depended on those wings, and he's been doing that. And what calmed him down was his daughter, bringing up his daughter, saying, "Hey, remember you said you wanted to change. You wanted to build your relationship better with your daughter." And he finally calmed down, and he did the right thing. And he stepped down as president. He locked himself up in the raft, or the riff, I mean. And then they put the leader in there too as well. And that's how that movie ending. Now, let's talk about it. So, we'll talk about Betty Ross. We finally see her too in this film. She shows up and they have that conversation. But then in the post-credit scene, which I only have one, which that's very interesting, but they did say they're only going to do post-credit scenes if they're only going to actually do something with it. So the fact that in the post-credit scene we see Sam Wilson talk to the leader, and the leader said, "Can this world team up and battle other worlds?" Which is probably referring to Avengers Secret Wars. Now, what's very interesting about this film to me about that is President Ross wanted to rebuild the Avengers, but obviously in this film, Anthony Mack did play Captain America, but Sam Wilson didn't want to have the Avengers being under control by the government, because the idea is, what if we disagree on a situation? What happens, right? And they tease like the Dark Avengers. Now, why are they teasing the Dark Avengers? Is because I think that they want to do it and they're working on it. But where they put General Ross now, or President Ross, I should say, is very interesting, because is he going to be a changed man? Because he's locked up. And they didn't say how long he's going to be locked up. But for the sake of this conversation, however long it takes to get him out of that, that's how long he's going to be in. So we know we got the Thunderbolts and we got Daredevil Born Again. Now, obviously, I don't see General Ross showing up in a post-credit scene in Daredevil Born Again. So, and that comes out in March 4th. So here, let's use that show as an example. I highly doubt that we'll see him show up in that show. Could he be mentioned through dialogue? Yes. Could they be clues? Yes, because it's all connected to the MCU, of course. But let's just say from season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, right, and all the events that's going to take place with Daredevil and Kingpin and others, right? So just say that's a whole year of him being locked up. And then when we get to Marvel's Thunderbolts movie, now that's a 50-50. It's 50-50 because they could show President Ross or not. But let's say they didn't show him in no post-credit scenes, and let's say they never showed him in this film at all. That's another year of him just being locked up. Okay? So, and why am I saying like this? It depends. Does he change, be a changed man? Like, example, in the series The She-Hulk, the Abomination is a changed man. He's found peace. He was calm. He was relaxing. He wasn't trying to be angry and want to fight the Hulk, right? he's made that very clear to She-Hulk. Does General Ross go that same route? Does Kevin Feige say, let's do that or let's not do that? That all depends. And the reason why I bring that up is because they're teasing the Dark Avengers. Do they want him in the Dark Avengers? Is the question. And does the Dark Avengers, stay under the government's commands? But we know Bucky Barnes in this film is running for some type of Senate, I believe. And Saber has the hots for him, I guess. But Sam Wilson let him know, like, yo, he's like 100 and something years old. Like, she's like, I can work with that. But hey, cool. But so that's an interesting thing too that I thought. And like I said in the non-spoiler, I felt like the story was simple and it was really good. But there was sometimes it felt the stories felt a little bit bumpy because I know what they're trying to explain and I know what they're trying to make you understand. But now, if people are just watching Marvel movies just because they don't know the history of the Dark Avengers through comic books, okay, that's fair. So that gives them a little bit of leeway. But the question is, do they cater to the hardcore fans and make sure it stays true to it or not? That's the $1 million question. Because if you go back to, like, again, She-Hulk and the Abomination thing, he was calm, nice, and peaceful. He was doing yoga. He made a retreat source for therapy, like an AA thing. Just because people who are addicted to being the villain, I guess. I don't know. And it was kind of silly and comedy. Now, so it makes me think that the Dark Avengers ain't going to be the Dark Avengers the way I read in comic books. So does that mean the Red Hulk is even in the Dark Avengers, but he's the one who name dropped them by saying, I want to rebuild the Avengers? So who knows? Now, could Vanessa Kirby do it from Thunderbolts? Maybe. But it all depends, and I don't know where they want to go with it. And who would be in this group? Because, this is supposed to be where the villains dress up as superheroes, I guess. Like Norman Osborn takes the War Machine suit, the Patriot suit. I don't honestly know with that one, but again, they're teasing that Dark Avenger, the Dark. Now let's talk about Betty Ross. Now that she's back, it's an interesting thing because it's where do they put Bruce Banner? Because to be honest with you guys, they could have took this story and made this a sequel to the Incredible Hulk movie, the 2008 one with Ed Norton, right? This story could have been the sequel to it. Instead of having Sam Wilson, Captain America, they could have had Bruce Banner do this whole film where, imagine Bruce Banner got invited by President Ross and said, let's rebuild the Avengers. And he could have had that same conversation that Captain America and General Ross did. It could have been the same thing, honestly. But why they didn't put him in there, I don't know. He's technically back on planet Earth because he was at the family reunion get-together thing in She-Hulk with his son. And his son's on planet Earth, Starks. So it's kind of like, where was Bruce Banner the whole time? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure Kevin Feige has an answer to that. I'm pretty sure because having Betty Ross now, people are going to want to see that love story again between Bruce Banner and Betty Ross. Like, could they rekindle? Now, remember, he was in love with Natasha, Black Widow. So I would assume that Betty Ross has found a man, maybe a husband, maybe has kids. Or maybe she stayed single and had no kids. I don't know. But let's just say I have a feeling that Betty Ross is a married woman with two kids, or in some way she's a mother and the father has passed away. Now, she was dating a guy. I forget the actor's name. I forget his name, but he was in the Incredible Hulk movie in 2008. But could they bring him back? He was I. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, everyone, but I forget the actor's name. But he could come back. But it was very interesting that they brought back all these characters from the Hulk movie. So they're definitely MCU characters, but it depends where they're going with it because she didn't have a big scene, but this obviously was there was a lot of reshoots, a lot of cuts. There's some old photo leaks of where I think General Ross, aka President Ross, aka Red Hulk, did die, and there's a photo of Betty Ross, who is the actress is Liv Tyler, the daughter of the lead singer of Aerosmith. She was at his tombstone at a funeral. So I think he was originally going to die, but I think that's a good thing because you really can't really kill a Hulk. You can't really just kill him like that. Like it's gamma ray, like anger and rage. Like I even the leader, you couldn't really. He's too smart. That gamma ray is going to protect him. Same as She Hulk. You can't really just knock her out or defeat her down. Yeah, gamma ray. It is what it is, but I think they have a plan for it, and it's going to be real interesting to see where they put Betty Ross. Now, that's I could see her showing up in the Thunderbolts movie, not the Daredevil show. I don't think nobody in this movie is going to show up in Daredevil Born Again, but that's okay. That's okay. It's not that show doesn't need them at the moment. But I could see Betty Ross showing up in Thunderbolts. That would be an interesting move because it kind of connects to what the if you watch the trailer to the Thunderbolts, it kind of makes sense, and they kind of connect. The stories seem very similar. I just think it's just Vanessa Kirby who is gonna try to revamp the Avengers or some sort. But I think that's the idea of it because in there they're in the old Avenger Tower, so I guess no Norman Osborn yet, right? But that's okay. And let's talk about Sam Wilson. I thought Anthony Mack, like I said in the non-spoiler, I thought he did an amazing job bringing that character to life, and it definitely made you realize that we do have a Captain America. Like it's okay, we don't need Steve Rogers. We have Sam Wilson, and he's gonna be a great leader to the Avengers. Like he needs to be the leader of the Avengers, like he should, and he ought to. And other than that, I think this, as much as the Rotten Tomato gave it a low score, I think in general though the most important thing is I always say and like I said in the non spoiler, this is a simple story, but it makes sense, and this is where they needed to go with this film, and this is where the MCU needed to be at the moment. Like, it's not a bad movie at all. Is it better than Deadpool and Wolverine? No. Like I said, I would put Deadpool, Wolverine, and then Captain America: Brave New World. Like 1, 2. There you go. Just like that. And I think whatever they go next, this it's gonna help people appreciate this film more. I think people just need more time with it. I think more people just need to rewatch it again. And obviously, most people are gonna wait till it hits the Disney Plus streaming service, or some or they're like me who wants to go out and go to the movie theaters and watch this film again. Like it's such a good film. I loved it no matter what. Like yeah, I like I always said, like I feel like they made their point, but I didn't think they executed it the right way. I think it got a little sloppy with it, but they made their point, and I always felt like this film was way too short. Like this film needed to be 2 hours long because there were so many characters that I forgot that was in this film. But if they had a little bit more time, I think people would have got understood these characters and where they stand at. Like, does Sabra join the Avengers? I don't know. Does she show up in Thunderbolts? Like, I really don't know. And now that, President Ross, which they can answer that in Thunderbolts, like who takes over the president? Who's the vice president of this at the time? I forget. But I feel like if they had that 2 extra hour in this film, we would have had to understand, like, okay, the vice president had to take over. Now here's the Thunderbolts movie, right? Like, they needed to do that a little bit more smoother. But I still liked it, and I think in time the harsh critics will appreciate it more later on once they just rewatch it again. And I'm pretty sure once it hits that Disney Plus, I think the harsh critics that you may see already will have a change of heart about it. To me, that's what I think. So 1 out of 10, I'm gonna have to give it a 7. It was really good. It wasn't the best, a little sloppy, but this is where the MCU needs to kind of go with it. And they're building up to the Avengers, and I know that it's difficult to do that when you have like Avengers Endgame so good. And then like obviously like Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 and the other Steve Rogers, Captain America films and so many more. It's hard to go with this and hard to top all that off. But it's better to start where it's better what they did with it now. And then everything else gets better. That's what I think. So, but thank you guys so much for listening to my spoiler review, guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace